What's up guys, welcome back, and in this video I'd like to build the search dropdown using Livewire. Livewire is a full stack framework that allows you to create JavaScript components that usually need to make AJAX calls, but now you can do it entirely within PHP. Now you still might need some JavaScript for some UI interactivity, so for that we'll be making use of Alpine.js. So let's go ahead and get started. So first thing I'm going to do is install Livewire and then extract a Livewire component. So let's go to the docs here and let's see how to do that. Let's compose require it. Okay, and let's include the assets. So I am using Laravel 7 here, so we can do it this way. So I'm going to add Livewire styles and Livewire scripts in my layout file. So that would be main.blade, I believe, main.blade.php. Yep. So let's add these styles here, and let's add the scripts before the end of the body. Okay. And you can publish the config file if you want, but I'm just going to stick with the defaults, and there's other configuration options here if you want as well. So let's go down to making components, and we will extract this component or this whole thing into a Livewire component. So let's go ahead and PHP artisan make Livewire, and we'll call it search dropdown. So PHP artisan make Livewire search dropdown. So similar to Blade components, we have two new files here. We have a class and we have a view file. So let's open those up. So that would be app http livewire search dropdown, and we also have the view file here. So let's go into that livewire search dropdown. Okay, so now I just want to extract the HTML in here from here. So let's grab that search dropdown. So it's this whole thing right here. So if you see, if I remove this, you'll see that it's going to be gone from here. Okay, so let's put that in our view file for Livewire. And let me just re-indent that. Okay. And now we can re-add it in our Blade template using Livewire search dropdown. And I don't think we need to self-close it. So let's see if this comes back. And there it is. Awesome. Okay, now I just want to scaffold out the styling for the search dropdown. So let's go ahead and do that with Tailwind. Go back here. And I think if I just make another div that's absolute right underneath here. So that absolute. And let's say BG gray 800 as well. And let's give it some rounded corners. Let's see, results go here. Let's see if that renders correctly. Okay. And we'll give it some padding in each of the elements because I want to make a horizontal rule here. So let's just make it with 64, just like the search input, to make it the same size. Okay, cool. And let's get a margin top as well. Okay. And within here, I'm going to make an unordered list. And I guess this could have been the parent element, but I'll just stick to what I have. And for each of these, I want a list item with a border. Border gray 700 is what I have here. And each one of these will have a link to a movie. And say class equals block. Say hover BG gray 700. And you can put a transition on this if you want. I'll probably do that behind the scenes. PY3. And let's say Avengers. See how that looks. Okay, that looks pretty good. And let's add two more here, just to see how it looks. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And I think I have this as small text. So let me just add that text SM. Okay, so now let's hook up Livewire. So let's start with the Livewire class. So search dropdown, and we need to make a public property that's similar to state in, say, view. So whenever this changes, this render method will get re-rendered and the view in here will update. So that's what we want as we type here. So let's make a new piece of state. Let's make it public called search. And this is just the search that the user puts in here. So that's going to update as we make changes to it. It's defaulted to an empty string. And I can't remember if I have to pass this in or if it gets passed in automatically. So let's try. So let's put something in here actually. Hello there. And let's see if it gets passed in automatically in our view here. So instead of this first result, I'm going to do search. Does that work? I'm sorry, this goes within the class. So right here. Okay, and let's try that again. See if that renders. Okay, so it does. So you don't have to pass it in. Cool. Now, to make this reactive, so it updates every time we type something in here, we can make use of the wire model directive. So similar to vModel in Vue. So let's add that right here on the input. So let's do wire model, and we'll give it the search variable. And like magic, this should update as we type into the input. So I'm going to refresh and you'll see this update. Hi there. So I hope you can see all the magic that's going on here. We have a class here. We have this search component and it's hooked up to the input. And as we type here, the backend gets changed and this gets re-rendered if it needs to. So there are some options on this wire model. For example, if you want to change the debounce time, you can do that. By default, I think it's set to 150 milliseconds, but I want to make it a bit higher. You can just do that. And now you'll see that this won't get updated until I stop typing. So, and then it updates after 500 milliseconds. So that's what we want because we're going to be making calls to our search API endpoint. And we don't want to make a call for every keystroke. Okay, now let's take a look at how to use the search API. And for our endpoint, it's search/movie. So if you go into my REST client, you'll see that I have an example here. It takes a query parameter and you can give it whatever movie you're searching for. And then you'll get a results array similar to our popular movies in the first video. So let's go ahead and add that to our Livewire class. So back to our search dropdown, and I'm going to make a variable here called for the search results. Okay. And I'm just going to grab something similar to what we did in our movies controller for this popular movies, but now it will be for search results. So let's update that, search results. So it's search movie. And we have a query string named query equals, and the string is this search. And there's also a results key, so we can keep that. And since this is not a instance variable up here, then we have to pass it in directly. I guess we can make it an instance variable if you want, but I'll just keep it like this. So search results equals collect. Actually, I'm going to make it a collection, but we'll just pass it in like this for now. And let's dump out the search results too, so we can see what we're doing. So dump search results. Okay. So back to our view here, and let's see if this works. HTTP not found. Let's import that. Okay. Okay. So there is the results for hello there, because that's what I defaulted. Let's see if it actually, yeah, so it kind of matches what our query is. And let's just put that back to an empty string. Okay. And let's see if this actually works. So let's refresh. And we get an error here, it says undefined index. So what I'm going to do is I only want search results to be available if there is something typed in to the input box. So I don't want to search one character or two characters. I want at least 2 characters. So we can just do if strlen this search is greater than or equal to some number. I'll just do 2. Then you can do this. So let's move that up. And now this should work. Okay. And you see it doesn't search for 1. It only searches for at least 3 characters. So let's try Avengers here. Okay, and there are the results for that query. Cool. So let's go ahead and loop over the search results and display them in our dropdown. So we don't need these two. And let's go ahead and for each over this. So we have our search results coming in. And say result. And let's move this in there. Okay, and the title is going to be result title. Let's do that. And we also want to link to the details page, and we have a route for that, and we can grab the ID as well. So route is movies.show, and the ID is going to be result ID. Okay, and let's see if this works. Let me get rid of that dump because it's going to be annoying. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay, so let's try typing in a search query in here. Avengers. And there you see it update here. And you can see in the bottom left, this should go to the appropriate movie page. Awesome. Okay, so I only want a certain amount of search results, so let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to collect this, make it a Laravel collection. Oops, collect. And you can specify how many you want here. So take, say, 6 or 7. Say 7. Okay, and now we should only have 7 results here. So if I refresh, try again, there's only 7 results. Cool. So I also want the case where there's no results. So if I just type some gibberish here, then I want to say no results for that string. So let's do that. Back to our template. Let's just make a conditional here to check if there is results. So since we made that a collection, we can just use the count method. So if search results count is greater than 0, then we can move this up there. Okay. And then we can put an else clause in here for the no results. And let's just do class, oh not class, px3, py3, no results for, and let's put this in quotes, and say search. Okay. And that should work. Let's see if that works. Okay, so it does work, but it's displaying when there's no results. So let's see if it works for, okay, so that works. And this still works. Okay, but we also want to get rid of this when there's nothing to show. So we just have to make another conditional around the entire thing. So around the entire search input. So right here. So say if, so similar to what we did in the class where we checked if there are at least 2 characters. So let's do strlen search is greater than or equal to 2. Okay, and let's end that here. And let's just indent this. Okay, try again. Okay, let's type in gibberish. Okay, and this still works. Awesome. Okay, let's add a poster image for our results here. So right to the left of the text. So let's change this anchor tag to be a flex container, items center. And the first result will be the image, and the second result will be the title. So let's put this title in a span. Let's put a margin left on it. Okay, and the first flex item will be the image. So image source, and that's going to be https image.tmdb.org/t/p/width92. So I'm just getting a smaller image, and I showed you how to do this in the last video. And I want the result poster path, and say poster. Okay, see if that works. Let's try again. Okay, and we just want to change the width here. So let's give it a class of 8 with 8, width 8. See if that is good. Okay, looking good. So some results don't have a poster path. Let's see here. As you can see, for this result, there are some posters that don't exist. So we can just put a placeholder there. So let's just say if result poster path, then we can do this. But if not, we can put a placeholder image. And I'm just going to paste that in. It's just from a placeholder image service. And that's the size. And let's see if this works. AVEN. And there it is. Cool. Okay, now let's add a loading spinner. And Livewire has support for that. So for the loading spinner, I'm going to make use of a Tailwind CSS plugin that is easy to use. So it's this one, I believe. So let's go ahead and install this, or npm. Okay. And I think we need to add this to our config here. Or first we have to require the plugin in our Tailwind config. So tailwind.config.js, let's put that in here. Okay. And we have to add this stuff in here in our theme. So let's do that. Let's put it after the extend. Okay, and let's get rid of this. Okay, and let's compile this down, npm run dev. Okay, that's done. Let's go ahead and just put a loading spinner in here, then I'll show you how to use it within Livewire. So let's just put it anywhere to see it working. So I'm going to put it right here, and we just have to do .spinner and see if that renders anything. And there it is. Cool. And by default, this spinner is positioned relatively, and I want to position it absolutely. So unfortunately, we're going to have to go into our Tailwind CSS here and override it here. So .spinner position absolute, and we have to compile again. Okay, that's done. Let's go ahead and try that again. And now you can see it's positioned absolutely relative to the input box. So now we can position it to the right. So back to our blade. Let's say top 0, right 0, and let's just bump it into place with these margins, which I have already done. And there you go, you see it there. So now all we have to do to make it work with Livewire is add an attribute here. So similar to how we have wire model above, we can just do wire loading, and that will appear if it's still in a loading state when making requests. So refresh, and as I type here, you'll see it appear here. Awesome. So the last thing I want to do is check out how to test your Livewire components. So let's take a look at the test we made in the last video. So it was called View Movie Test, View Movies Test, and let's make a new one here called the search dropdown works correctly. Okay, and I'm going to fake the query like we did before, and the endpoint is search/movie, and I'm going to search for the Jumanji movie. And just like I showed you in the last video, I have a fake response for that query. So this fake search movies, and then we can assert if we see this text. So let me just paste that method in. So I'm going to paste it right here. And as you see, I have the Jumanji movie here, and we can assert against that. So to test, you can just do Livewire test, give it the name of the component. So in our case, it's search dropdown. And then we can make assertions on it, just like how we would make assertions on the response. So assert don't see Jumanji, because we didn't type in the search dropdown yet. And let me import this. Okay. And to simulate typing in the search dropdown, we just have to give it the set method. We want to set the search input or the search variable to Jumanji. And now, since we have our fake response and that response has Jumanji in it, we can just do assert see Jumanji. So this should pass if I did everything correctly. And there we go, we are at green. So we built this dropdown in Livewire, and it makes requests to our backend and updates our front end whenever changes are detected. We have that loading spinner and everything works great. However, for things like toggling UI elements, then that's when you still need JavaScript. So for example, I want to be able to press escape and close the window. I want to be able to keyboard navigate, and that sort of still works. I want to be able to click off of this and then hide this. That doesn't work. So in the next video, we'll be taking a look at using Alpine.js with Livewire so we can accomplish that. And maybe I'll also add some interactivity to the other elements on the page here. For example, maybe if I click on this, a modal will come up. And same for the play trailer button. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one. Okay, thanks. Bye.